This meeting is being recorded by the host or a participant.
Welcome everybody to the iBUG Android Insight Call. Today is Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. I am one of your hosts, Ava Harshid, and my co-host is Hershey.
Hey, good evening. This is Hershey from Daytona Beach.
Yes. So this call is all about Android. We talk about everything from the smartphone that works on the Android platform to your Alexa devices, your Google devices, to your Android tablets, even your Fire tablets. So if it works on the Android platform, here's where you can come and ask your questions, give comments. Just remember, we are an open forum where we help each other, okay? A little bit more, our calls are always recorded, so you can go back and listen to the recordings at any time you may want to review something we have gone over. You can go to ibugtoday.com and go to the iBUG Android Insight tab and listen to any of our previous recordings. You can also find us on YouTube as well. And we want to also say that we have a list that you can come and join, Hershey.
Absolutely, and that list is, to join it, send a blank email to iBUG Android Insight plus subscribe at groups.io, and I'll spell it for you. iBUG Android ANDROID Insight INSIGHT, and then the plus sign subscribe SUBSCRIBE groups plus subscribe at groups @ and then groups GROUPS.io.
Yes, and now here's some insights on what's happening with iBUG. We have the movie Friday night, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So come on in and join the movie. The movie starts at 8 o'clock. You can sign in at 7:30 for the social hour. And I'm pretty sure Sonia and them will have questions and a little bit of trivia going on. As well as it is always on the same link that you use to join this call. So we also have the iBUG Vila Book Club, which will be December 8th. And the book for December will be Writers and Lovers. So you can find that on Bards. And just to follow with iBUG Macintalk will be next Tuesday. That will start at, is that 7 or 8? 8 p.m. 7?
Yeah.
Okay, 7 p.m. I thought so. And all our times is in Central Standard Time. So if you want to follow what iBUG is doing and going on, go to ibugtoday.com. You can always sign up there and you will get a list of what's going on during the month, as well as when things are happening each week. So I want to say welcome again to everybody. I want to do a little roundabout. I want to introduce yourself. If you're new to our call, please let us know who you are, what type of devices you have, and how did you hear about us? So let's start off. Don't be shy.
And just a reminder to unmute yourself. Remember, on your phone, you'd hit the *6 to unmute yourself. If you're using a PC, hit Alt-A. If you're using a Mac, Control-Shift-A. please help me out here, Sandhya, with is it Command Op Shift A? Is that what you call it? The control key?
Command.
Command. Okay, so Command Shift A and then *6 and Alt A. So that would get you unmuted. And so, who are you, Sandhya? I just said your name. You wanna go off and introduce yourself?
All right, this is Sandhya from Houston.
Nice to meet you, Sandhya.
And let's see. I have lots of Alexa devices. Oh, that was not the question.
Shh, they'll wake up.
Yeah, don't wake them all up. Okay. Yes. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Am I unmuted now?
You're now unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, this is Clarice Henry, and I have a couple of Android tablets, and one of them is very messed up for some reason. And I have an Android phone, but it's doing well, just tablets messed up.
Excellent. Well, nice to meet you, Miss Clarice. And anybody else want to introduce himself?
This is Dan from Southern California.
Hey, Dan, welcome. Don't be shy. Just unmute and go ahead and say your name and where you're from and maybe what devices you have.
This is Renee Arrington Johnson from Cleveland, Ohio. I have Samsung phones, TVs, Android tablets, and a lot of other smart devices.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the crowd, or welcome to the bunch, rather. We're getting to be a little crowded here, which is fun. So anybody else wants to introduce themselves? If you're just coming in, let us know where you're from, maybe what type of devices you have, and how did you hear about us? Wow, quiet bunch today.
Yeah, I see they're very quiet today.
Very don't be
I
shy.
think the cold
Hi
made
there,
it
this is Shay.
Hey Shay, welcome.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I'm sorry I was late. I was
No,
just
no,
on
no,
the
no.
phone telling my mom how I was looking forward to this meeting tonight, and she says,
That's
well, you
great.
better hurry up because it's 5. So I'm so happy to be here. I got a new tablet. I got a Galaxy Tab 8,
Ooh.
and because my old one, my Tab A, died, and it has pictures on it. So that was one of the things I was going to ask tonight, if anybody knows how to
we
record
could
it
maybe
just for a little
resurrect
bit.
it or something. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and then I was also going to ask later about a photo stick. So you can, I think you can plug them in your phone and all of your computers, and it gathers everything in one spot.
Okay,
So
I got some feelings about those, but we'll discuss further. But welcome to the show, and I'm glad this is your third time in. So I just wanted to highlight that. I really appreciate you giving us feedback and coming back.
Oh, I love it. It is one of the best groups that I think it's my favorite one.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I do the Friday night movie too, and I think that's my second favorite one. But this is always so fun.
Yeah, it's
Thank you for hosting.
always a good movie, to get the family out together and watch a movie. So thank you.
Yeah, they have such neat choices too. Thank you. I'm
Thanks.
so glad to be here.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
This is Richard from New York.
Hi, Richard.
Hey, Richard.
I hear somebody has a little one. But
Do
welcome.
we have to
Richard.
be new?
No.
No, not at all.
Hi, Rachel.
Well, hello. Yes, and that is my grandbaby. She want to talk, but she ain't got no phone yet. So
You see, I told you we're having a lot of people coming through. So welcome, baby, and welcome, Rachel.
yes, I am in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Wonderful, wonderful. Must be cold out there right now.
It is very cold. I am hibernating like a bear.
Well, welcome, and hopefully we could get some Android questions in from you as well. And anybody else wants to introduce themselves, don't have to be first timers. You could just let us know who you are. Very, very quiet today. So, Ava, do you think we should just jump into questions and then see if we could, we could pull out some cats in the hat kind of stories, or some things? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and start off with. Anybody has any questions or comments?
Sandhya.
Yes, Sandhya.
I'll be shameless and go first. So Okay, so I'm so excited that I bought this Alexa enabled microwave. It's a Toshiba ML something something. I don't know the model. So I'm at the point where I need to pair it with my. So I plugged in the microwave. We're using the microwave. So now you gotta set up the app. So I got the Toshiba app on my phone. Oh no, this is an Android. Well, I can talk about. Okay, well, I'm using it on an iPhone, but it's the. Is that okay or not?
Yeah,
No.
no, that's okay.
Let's see.
because
Let's
you're
go to
still
Ava
trying
for
to
that one. Ava, is that okay? Is this
No.
okay topic to discuss? I think
It's
so.
No,
Alexa.
that's okay to discuss because you're still trying to pair it with the Alexa.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized. Okay, so that's where we are. So I loaded the app and then it, tells you do this, do that, and then it's like, okay, look for your device, look for your mic, so I said added a microwave, then it says tell us your model, and then my model I don't think is in there, so I need to try it again. I don't know, or so that's the point where I'm stuck because it tells you like tap on your microwave and hold it down for 3 seconds. And then, so we're at the pairing point. That's where we are.
Yeah, if your model's not showing up, then it's not pairing. But let's put this out to the group to see if anybody has any suggestions, or have y'all dealt with this before?
Nope.
So, bottom line, this is Hershey, and if while we do talk during the meeting, just let us know who you are while you speak, so that way we can recognize you. I think with that situation there, I just redid my thermostat, and I think my thermostat's Wi-Fi is actually broken, like the radio thingy in it. So, to give a cross reference, I used the Google Home app to bring in the thermostat, but you couldn't do it that way. You had to go get the other app, which is the Nest app. So in your situation, you're using Toshiba and let's say Amazon, right? So there might be a little handshake happening. So first you get the Toshiba thing, and then they say, "Hey, I know you. Hey, I know you too. You're part of the same company," because there's a code or something, that QR code or whatever that connects those pieces. After that is done, if you're saying that your Echo is not getting connected or such, you may consider looking at try to break that piece down. So is it the Toshiba app not connecting first? Just work on that part, and then if that's working fine, then try to see the process between how does Amazon take it. So if opening up the Alexa app, does it recognize that device once the Toshiba app is actually recognized it? And you could give me a call off air if you needed to, Sandhya. We could really dive into it.
7 p.m.
But I think that it could, these things are finicky. They're called IoT, Internet of Things devices. And so microwaves have a little smart gadget inside that lets it know, hey, you're smart and you're supposed to do stuff. And that handshake doesn't happen. So we have difficulties with connectivity.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'll
Well,
try
and it's-
that. Thank you.
Well, and it's also to make sure you're on that 2.4 Wi-Fi connection with it. Because I know because I'm still having trouble connecting two of my devices, and that's how I ended up finding out I was trying to connect it to the wrong Wi-Fi.
Yeah, this is about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yep. So as Ava just explained there, the 2.4 gigahertz is a wider band. We were talking about this pre-show. Let me just explain it so we have it recorded. 2.4 reaches longer distances, whereas 5 gigahertz is more saturated and wider. So it can do a lot, but if you're farther away from a device, it's not going to work as well. So whenever you are choosing between IoT devices, they recommend you set it up as 2.4 bandwidth. And most new routers, depending on Xfinity or Spectrum, such that they already have it built in, so you might not see a 2.4 or 5. It might already do the negotiation within the respective companies. So Xfinity might do it in their software. Spectrum does it in their router. When you have your own router or own equipment, then yes, you might have a bit of difference there. So sometimes people might buy the Amazon router. I forget, starts with the A something, Arrow, right? Eero, there you go, Eero. And that also works with all the Amazon-y stuff in the house, but that might connect to, let's say, a microwave quicker because it's part of that ecosystem and it's their handshake. So your Toshiba right now is struggling with this handshake process, and maybe it's not on the accessible side as much as it should be. And I'm more than happy to help you off air.
Much appreciated.
Yeah,
Thank
this is
you.
Katrisa. Hello.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
This is Katrisa. Okay, in my Gmail, I'm having problems scrolling down, so I have to use my computer to go down. It'll only show so much. I use TalkBack, and I use a Samsung 7.
Okay.
And I
And
use TalkBack.
Sandhya, sorry if we answered your question there. I guess we're moving on to the next question here. And if we did get your question answered,
We're good. We're good. Okay. Thank you.
So if anybody has an answer for, you mentioned that TalkBack is running slower when you're in Gmail. Is that
No, it's just I can't scroll down like I want to. So I go and I set my settings to links, and it'll do some controls, but I can't get it to where I want it.
Understood?
Yeah.
Well, anybody out there have some opinions or facts and help here that we could get moving along with Gmail? Oh man, we're missing our friends usually up in here. Kevin, I guess, is busy, but this is Hershey again, and the answer to that is the only one I could think of is at least try just using 2 fingers and seeing if it scrolls. I know that you mentioned that you're using links and controls and such, but you could hold 2 fingers and just scrub it upwards, the screen, and to see if that helps any with at least the fact of scrolling. I'm not sure if there's any other issues that are going on. If you might have any other things turned on, that could be a hindrance. But typically, if you were to hold 2 fingers with TalkBack and scroll upwards from the bottom, it should scroll down that list. So let's just say you had ABC emailing you at the top and 1, 2, 3 in the middle and XYZ at the end. You could at least go beyond XYZ and then check out whatever's, the 4th item.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps. And if that answers your question, we'll move on to the next question. If anybody has any questions or concerns.
What phone do you recommend? Do you recommend a Samsung? What Samsung phone do you recommend now? That's the latest technology.
All right. Does anybody have an answer for that? What phone should she get? Should she get a latest Samsung or something?
Also, please remember to say your name.
Okay, this is Katrisa.
Okay.
I'm a Samsung user, and I'm just used to Samsung because it's user friendly to me, and I enjoy it. So I don't really want to switch unless it's necessary. So I was just wondering what would be if I was to get the latest phone, what would be the best?
This is Kevin.
Oh, so there goes Kevin. Okay, we thought we weren't missing. So. Go ahead, Kevin.
I suggest that you get the S22 if you want the latest and greatest. If you're not going to purchase for a couple of months, then you can wait on the S23. And to your scrolling problem, it sounds like you might be using the Samsung email app, and that causes you to have to scroll. But if you use the Gmail app, the scrolling won't be necessary. But the Samsung email app and the Outlook app cause you, it only shows so many emails at one time, and you have to swipe up, you have to drag up with 2 fingers to keep scrolling. But you shouldn't have that problem in the Gmail.
I shouldn't have that 20. I shouldn't have that problem with the 22. The 20.
You will still have that problem if you use the Samsung email app. I use both on my Samsung S22, and there is a new. They're using a new format. It didn't do this before, but now it only shows about 10 emails. Outlook does the same thing, and you have to scroll up to show the rest of them. But on the Gmail app, it just continues to refresh.
Yeah, but when I get on that page, do I just use my 2 fingers And how do you scroll? How you scroll down? Like you use
You just
scroll
take
bar?
2 fingers in the middle of the screen and just kind of drag up
Okay.
and then let go.
Okay.
And TalkBack will make a sound and let you know that it's progressing on the screen.
Okay. All right, that's about all I can think of right now.
All right. Well, thank you for your question. And this is Hershey. And just to give you a little bit of feedback, as what Kevin has said, I personally think that Samsung phones are better for low vision users. Just fact of the way the fonts and things magnify on the screen. But if you're a pure screen reader user, Pixel phones are going to be your best bet because you get a pure Android feeling, so to speak, and the screen reader runs a little bit faster and smoother since it's coming straight from Google. The Samsung phones, as we mentioned, S22 Ultra is going to be the one with the stylus and the pen. That's similar to the Note. If you want to get cheaper and save some money, the S22 Pro, I think it's called, the one in the middle. Those are viable choices. Sometimes people do get the A series and stuff, but since you do have a Series 7, if you update to, let's say, S22 Ultra or anything like that, you'll find a huge jump in accessibility. The new TalkBack is far feature rich than what was found possibly on the S7. So if you're wanting to stay in the ecosystem, you could, like I said, stick around in the S series. If you want to save some money, you could go to the A series, but it's better to kind of stick to the fully featured, especially on the accessibility side.
Okay, this is Katrisa again. So
Go ahead.
The Google Pixels, I couldn't find none at Walmart. I couldn't find any. I couldn't find
Google Pixels. This is Hershey again. Google Pixels are typically found on the Google Store. So if you type in a browser, store.google.com, it's plastered all over there. And if anybody wants to share their process of how they purchased theirs, maybe this could help.
Okay.
This is Kevin. What
Kevin.
carrier do you have?
I use Page Plus.
That's Verizon, the subsidiary.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Pixel phones, I think they are carried at Walmart because I received an email, but they're definitely at Best Buy, Amazon. But I'm a big, huge Pixel fan, but if you're want to stick with Samsung, you're not losing anything by getting the S22. So
okay,
you can get the S22 wherever you can get it, but or you can go Pixel. But the if you want to do smart things and you want the best like health issues, if you ever decide to get like one of the Samsung watches, so if you want to stay basically within that ecosystem, if you ever decide to get a washer and all that other stuff, then it's going to be better that you just stay Samsung all the way.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Clarissa, hopefully that answered your question. And if anybody else has any thoughts, we could move on to the next question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Michelle Scott from Charleston, South Carolina. I have a question about Gmail. I seem to have gotten my important mail tab attached to my inbox mail tab. So now I get the same mail in both my inbox and my important box, rather than my marking something important and moving it to the important box. And I don't know how to unlink them. I don't even know how they got linked.
Okay. Does anybody
any
have solutions for Miss Michelle here? I guess Kevin and the rest of our Android users are stumped. The only guess I have at this one specifically is try to pull up Gmail on a desktop computer or browser that way, because all the settings will be more in front of you. And just to make sure that you only have, let's say, inbox set up as the primary box, and then let everything else uncheck it. So I know that sometimes when you set up a new Gmail box, you get like the personal ads and the travel and yada yada yada. And I don't like using those methods of, spam or whatever going into those folders, because it makes your inbox look cleaner, but you have all those emails sitting somewhere that are just piling up. So I would just make sure that you have inbox as the only inbox checked, and then to see if you've unchecked on the social and all the other features if you're not using them, that is. And that should clear the clutter up for you with regards to Android.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Your important email is supposed to come to your inbox. If it ever wasn't, then that was the problem. Now you have what is supposed to be. The only thing with Gmail is that you have to remember to check the important folder, because sometimes emails show up there that never go to the inbox, unfortunately. So, but anytime you receive an email, it's just, if it's low importance, normal, or high, it's supposed to come to your main inbox, no matter what if it's starred, if it's as long as it's not spam, or if you don't have any other kind of a filter applied to it, it's supposed to come to your main inbox.
Okay. Well, I'll just go and check the settings on a desktop and make sure that I have only the inbox as my primary. That could be it. And then I have one more question. Does anyone know about the OneDrive being full and you having to purchase additional space or something for the phone to continue to work properly?
Okay, this is Hershey, and I'll leave it to the audience to have any answers for that.
This is Kevin. Do you have a Samsung phone?
Yes, I have a Samsung S22, 32,
Okay, so they
something like that.
discontinued the Samsung Cloud and they moved everybody over to OneDrive, but you weren't given any bonus storage. So all you get is the standard that you get on OneDrive, which is 5 gigabytes. So you can purchase extra storage. If you have an Office plan, you might want to attach that to it, because you probably have some extra storage if you have Office 365 or something. If not, then I would suggest either purchasing more or making Google Drive, which you get 15 free gigabytes, your default storage place. And just because I don't use the OneDrive part at all, because it's only 5 gigabytes. So,
Okay.
but yes, but the purchasing, that is legitimate. It's not spam or anything like that, but that is something that you're going to have to do, because they'll start deleting stuff for you.
Right, and that's how I lost some very important voice messages. It just deleted it all on its own. So you said something about being able to get 15 gigabytes if I do what now?
If you switch your default backup and storage place to Google Drive, if you have a Gmail address, you have 15 gigabytes of free storage, whereas Dropbox and OneDrive and stuff, they only give you like 2 or 5 or whatever. So Google gives you the most at 15 gigabytes.
Okay. So if I go into my settings and then backup and
Go to settings
whatever,
and go to backup
and
and
then
restore. And then also look at storage, the storage options, and see if you can make like your default place for photos, or if you have like the visual voicemail setup or whatever it is that you have, Google Docs and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about. It's going to automatically
Okay.
go to Drive, but anything else, you're going to have to tell it probably where you want it to go.
And that's going to be Google.
And it's going to be your Drive account associated. So if you have 2 or 3 emails, Gmail accounts, then you have 15 times whatever you have. So you can kind of manage that, and kind of, you might have to do it manually, but your default can be whatever your main Gmail is. And so your photos especially will go automatically to that folder, that whatever specified folder you have for it in Drive, because the Google one is just called Drive.
Hey, this is Hershey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, this is Hershey. So to explain it to you a little bit more in depth, if you have Microsoft 365 and you have those accounts, if you live in that space, then I recommend you could stay in that space and just back up either way. But Google, since you bought the phone and all of that, you already have an Android phone. So most people do log in with a Google account. So that Google account already comes with 15 gigs. Any new email you make thereafter. So as you mentioned, if you had 3 accounts, you'd have 45 gigs technically to spread around. But it's not that you're going to be using them at the same time. You'd have to log into each individual account to get to that data. And if you're in the ecosystem of taking a lot of photos and such, just make sure Google Photos is your primary. And then in contacts, which is another spot that it could get funky, is you want to make sure that your contacts are being saved to Google Cloud rather than the Samsung account. They might be the same email, but it'll say Samsung blah 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 rather than Google or Gmail at blah blah blah. So you just want to make sure that you change those. So next time you go to add a new number, it will go directly to your Google. And so to retrieve it, you just go to contacts.google.com, and there are all your contacts anywhere you go on any device. So if you don't have to, if you might have lost, a friend's number, you could go to any computer and type in Google or contacts.google.com and retrieve that information, even though you don't have your device on you. And so it's a good way to kind of get into that space of where you want to live. I recommend, and just to stay on the Google side, because they do offer quite a bit. They have docs and stuff for free. They have the Gmail storage. So I have taken out my information, so to speak, from Samsung's storage side, even though I have a 365 account. So I have a terabyte free, but I don't necessarily use it to back up my phone information, just files that I need to work with for work or any of that. It's a storage place. It's not anything to deal with my phone. So you could kind of take the tie away with Microsoft, because Microsoft now partners up with Samsung.
Okay. Well, thank you both, Kevin and Hershey. I appreciate the information.
Absolutely. And if anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to ask away.
Audio.
Well, this does not have to do with Android. This is Katrisa. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Katrisa.
You said Office 360. Which is better to use? Is Office 365 better to use than Office 2016?
I call it cost. A family subscription is $99 for Microsoft 365. An individual license is $69.99. That's only one user. So if you get the family one for $99, you get to download to 5 devices. So it could be iOS, it could be Android, it could be Windows, Chromebook, whatever. Like maybe not Chromebook. I'm not certain on that one, so I'll take that back. But Windows and other things for sure. You could download the apps on the phone and use the products. So the 1 terabyte comes free, and with the family plan, you get 5 accounts. So technically, you get 5 terabytes. Technically, but that means you have 5 individual family members that open up their own email, and that account belongs to them. But there's a cost associated at $99 and or $69 for individual, where you don't get the 5 users and you don't get the flexibility. And that does help you with connectivity and having Microsoft, Windows, Word, all that on your Windows PC, and then going to your phone and still being able to work. So if that requirement meets your needs, then I would say go for it. Pay the $99 or $69 and get into that ecosystem. But if you're not in that space and you just, once in a while you do docs and Excel sheets, or maybe not in Excel, just sheets, for spreadsheets, you could then utilize the tools that are offered by Google, such as Docs, Spreadsheets, Drive, and that comes pretty much naturally whenever you make a Google account.
Okay, so that a year, $99 a year, or $69 a year?
Right. That's the cost that associates with Microsoft's family or individual plans. And that gives you it's basically a subscription for the year. So let's say you got it now, next year, December, you won't be able to use it. It's not perpetual like it used to be. And again, for storage and things like this, for photos and backups, it could be useful. A terabyte could be quite useful, but it's up to you with your workflow. If you're an editor, if you work with, a lot of files, folders, archiving, it's based on your needs mostly.
Okay, so that's better than 2016.
Yes, yeah, 2016, 2019, 2022, they're perpetual versions. So what that means is they're a wrap up of whatever is the latest and greatest now. So it's a wrap up of every year. And if I counted the difference, that's 3 years, 16 to 19, that's 3 years. So it feels like they take all the features of the past 3 years and then they give you a one-time install. Rather than the subscription, you get new features, new things every month or whenever they update it. So there's a benefit, and especially in the accessibility space.
Okay, thanks.
Sure thing. And any other questions, concerns? Ava, are you still there?
Oh, this is Katrisa again. I got another question.
Katrisa?
Talk about Windows 365 and all that. Can that be, is that just for your computer or can you use that on your phone too?
You could use it on your Android phone just as well. So you'll get the spreadsheet apps, you'll get the Microsoft Word and stuff, and the Outlook app. So if your job or other things require you to live in that world, then it might be something you like. I find it's more flexible, easier to use with Google products, because as we mentioned, Outlook, the scrolling is a little different, right? So it feels different whenever you're trying to scroll, where you have to pinch with 2 fingers and move it up. And so it's about what you like personal preference.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry I've been asking you all these questions, but
Hey, we like it. I mean, it's making the show go on, and you're brand new to us, that feels like, so we really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Dan. I can now finally
Go ahead, Dan.
unmute now that I'm done eating and doing loading the dishwasher and so forth.
Hey, honey-do lists are always fun.
Well, I didn't want anyone to have to hear all the clatter. I have 2 questions. I've been thinking about a wayfinding solution like the glasses, and I know about Envision glasses, but I also heard about these new ARX glasses, and they're a wired solution, and right now they only work with Android phones. I've heard demos of them and they seemed impressive, and what I like about them is they do have bone conduction headphones, unlike the Envision glasses, which just have the frames and the camera. But have any of you tried the ARX glasses?
Anybody out there heard of these glasses? I know there's a lot of cool new wearable tech out there.
Oh, the audio now.
No, I never tried it, but what's the difference between that and Envision? You said that
the difference is that the Envision glasses are Bluetooth. You connect to your phone and you can use them on your own, but the ARX glasses don't have a battery. They get power from your phone. They're like the old, I don't know if any of you use Ira and use the Horizon glasses. This used to be a solution that Ira had, that all the device did is you pushed a button and it called Ira. And that was an Android phone. But these ARX glasses work like that. They don't support Ira yet, I don't think, but they will be next year. And the company says it's going to support iOS, but I don't know how that would work, considering that it's a wired solution, unless they're going to make a special cable with a lightning adapter, or they're only going to work with newer iPhones that have the standard USB-C connector. So I don't know. I'm going to wait till January until the support comes to kind of compare. But I thought the speech engine for the ARX glasses and the accuracy when the person was walking around and it was scanning for objects and things like that. I thought it was pretty good. And I did talk with the owner of the company. It's a French company, and they do have a mailing email discussion list. I can't remember the exact address. That's question one. And the second question is, have any of you tried Android 13 Braille support? Of course, it doesn't work on new Braille displays that use it doesn't work on the HumanWare displays and the Mantis, but it will work on older displays like the Focus. And I tested it, and it's okay, but I would say the commands are quite different from iOS. I would say there's kind of a steep learning curve to try to learn it. It works, but it only supports UEB Braille, contracted or uncontracted.
And anyone have some solutions here?
This is Kevin. So
Go
I
ahead, Kevin.
have tried it. We have several focuses and other Braille displays and stuff at work. So I've tried it. There's no learning curve because I've never used it on iOS. So there's no learning curve for me. So it's just day one. And it's kind of close to the way that BrailleBack worked and the Braille support on the Fire tablets, which has been there for a long time.
Okay.
It just never got really mentioned. But Voice View has had a built-in Braille display support for probably about 3 years now.
Yeah.
But it's not a really big learning curve for me. It's just interesting to try to figure out which focus it's connecting to, because we have so many in the same department.
I know.
In the same department.
Well, I know, for example, for whatever reason, I can see the keypad when I go to type my PIN to unlock the phone, but I can't type the PIN. I just get an error from the phone. Years ago on my last job, I used BrailleBack for a while, and then I went for a period of about 2 years of not using Android at all. And then I got a new job last year, and they needed Android testing, so they got me a phone. I asked for a Pixel phone since it would be the closest stock, and so I've been spending time trying to learn the new TalkBack gestures, which are different than the ones I learned 4 or 5 years ago. And I like what Google did with TalkBack. I just am not happy with the Braille support. For one thing, you can't redefine anything. It's all the one good thing Google did is change the help command. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I've tried it. Go ahead.
No, I was calling you out. Is it Leslie that was speaking?
Wesley, yeah.
Leslie, okay, go ahead.
I have tried it on a Braille Note Touch Plus, and it did work.
Well, that would make sense because it's an older communication standard.
Also,
I have a Mantis, and I've used the Mantis with Android 13 using the shareware Braille TTY program, and that does work. But you have to use a USB connection.
Yeah, because Braille TTY supports HID.
Yeah.
Also, I just wanted to confirm. I just wanted to make a correction. It's not Android 13. It's actually TalkBack 13. So in my case, I was running Android 11 and TalkBack 13.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah,
What is the
TalkBack
latest?
13.
What is the latest version of Android called then? Because I've always seen it in writing.
The latest Android is 13, but there's this TalkBack is 13 also. Is the latest version of TalkBack.
Well, that I knew. But
so
I
it's
was
in TalkBack 13. Yeah. Just wanted to confirm
Yeah.
What she's saying is kind of like when it originally was announced, I think it was assumed, and it only worked if you had Android 13, but because of something
No.
that they've done, I know for a fact that it wouldn't work if you had another version, because it only TalkBack 13 would work on a Android 13 device. Now,
No,
since
I've
it's
used it with.
actually been officially released, you can have an Android 11 or 12 device, and the
Yeah.
TalkBack version is what will support it. But at
Well, that's
first, you
interesting.
had to have 13 and 13 because you had to be running the beta to even for it to even
Yeah, I was
work.
running Android 11 and it worked with TalkBack
Yes.
13.
Now it will work with 11, 12, or 13 because it's this TalkBack that's carrying the weight, especially on Samsung devices. It will work
I'm
with,
using a Motorola.
yeah. So as long as you have the TalkBack 13, the Android version doesn't matter anymore. But at first, it
Hey, this is Hershey. So just to kind of unwrap that whole statement, I'm sure people are like, what are these guys, 13, 12? What are you talking about? So to unwrap what we're talking about, TalkBack is a screen reader for people that are totally blind. And so TalkBack now is also found on Samsung phones, and both are available through different stores, the Galaxy Store or the Play Store. And that's part of the Android accessibility suite. So for accessibility features such as Braille display features or that we're speaking about right now are available via this TalkBack application, which is part of Android accessibility suite. If you use other tools like Select to Speak, sure, you'll have TalkBack, you'll have the abilities, but that you're going to have different apps for your needs, right? For low vision apps such as. So if you have the newest version of TalkBack 13, that's going to be the app that you'll need, and you don't need to go download BrailleBack and all that other stuff that we used to do.
Right.
So the main difference here is the app is carrying the weight, as Kevin's generously told us here. So with that said, the version number of phones depends on the manufacturer. So Motorola might not get Android 13 or 14, right? It might not get something further down the road, but that Motorola might get Android 12. It might get Android 13 as the last and only one it'll get. Pixel phones, you get 3 years of support. So you let's say we're on 13 now, we'll get 14, 15, 16 for Pixel 7s. For Samsung, it's something similar as well, where Android 13 would be on S22 Ultra, which I have, 14, 15, and then 16. And then the other bit that we have to look at is security. How long is a security patch? So when we go to make decisions here, we always want to wonder, hey, which company is better and my investment is going to last me longer. Motorola is not a bad company. Their phones are quite nice. They work, but the longevity of their phones might not be fundamental with security updates. Whereas Google Pixel and Samsung are at least giving you 3 to 5 years to at least let the device run its course of for its life. TalkBack, however, if it's available, it pops out in the Play Store for everybody. It may be reversible to older versions, but just the best way I could say is try to move forward rather than lagging backwards. So if you have that S7, yeah, it's time for you to get a new phone, because soon we'll have this 5G problem and the 4G problem and all of these problems that carriers want to give us, and then they're going to force you to buy a new phone. So it's better you take control rather than the carriers take control with you.
Just remember, everybody, that when one person is speaking, please be courteous and not interrupt them. Let them finish speaking, then wait until you are recognized and announce your name so that we know on the recording who is speaking.
Okay, this is Hershey. Since you were speaking, you want to see if anybody else wants some more help out there?
So anybody else has any questions, comments?
Yeah, this is Catrice Cruz. Excuse me, this is Catrice Cruz.
Yes.
I got a question. What's the difference between TalkBack and Voice Assist? What's the pros and cons of each?
Okay, this is Hershey, and I'll just quickly answer it for you here. Voice Assistant is a Samsung screen reader that was made and it stopped after Android 11 came out. So I have a Note 9 that still runs Android 10 and it has Voice Assistant. It's a multi-finger gesture screen reader that Samsung had developed, but they have left that, and now they're making TalkBack, same name as Google does, but it's just coming from a different store. So you have to check your Galaxy store to download the updates for Google TalkBack, or excuse me, Samsung TalkBack. The main difference is for Samsung users, there isn't any. It's multi-finger gesture. Voice assistant is also multi-finger gesture. You might have more gestures with TalkBack. You have more flexibility with TalkBack. You have Braille with TalkBack. You have all of these other things we were speaking about with TalkBack from the Galaxy Store. Voice assistant was good in its time, but it's had its day, and we have to kind of keep moving forward.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
One of the other differences is that TalkBack, the version on Samsung and the one on Google, is customizable, whereas Voice Assistant was not. And you do lose some commands, like you could triple tap with 2 fingers to get the status bar read, and so that's gone away. You have to read the status bar another way now. So some of the stuff like tapping 3 times with 3 fingers to spell the last thing and copy it to the clipboard, like those kinds of things have gone away. But we have new copy, cut, and paste gestures, but some of the things like spelling out things and having certain things read that TalkBack had, that Voice Assistant has gestures for, you have to read them kind of like manually now. You don't get gestures to have those things read.
This is Dan. Just a comment. One of the things
ahead, Dan.
One of the things I like about Android over iOS is that when you update the phone, TalkBack is available and talks until you have to do a phone restart. Whereas when you do an iOS update, VoiceOver just stops and you don't know what's going on until the update's done.
Interesting.
Because last week I had to do a bunch of security updates on my work phone, and I knew exactly what was going on through the whole process. Sorry, Kevin.
And this is Kevin, and I just wanted to say that the Braille support as they have it right now, it just got pushed to Samsung phones running, I'm guessing, Android 11 and higher. So
okay.
13 just came out, and it does have the Braille display, and it also has the text description, the image description feature. But the screen reader is updated separately. I don't know about if it's that way on iOS. So the HID support that a lot of people have been making a lot of noise about, like Jonathan Mosen and so forth, that it could come any day, like Google knows software. So we get features all the time and TalkBack throughout the year. So HID support could come tomorrow, it could come in April, but they don't have to wait for another major operating system update to push any kind of support, any kind of features. We never know what we're going to get. Like the original Braille screen input was just pushed in March, just in the middle of nothing. Like we didn't even expect it. And next thing they know, like it says, we now have Braille screen input. So, continue to request it, go through Be My Eyes and specialized help.
Yeah.
But HID support is coming.
And
I hope so.
Thanks,
I'm
Kevin.
sorry.
No worries. I was just thanking Kevin here. Thank you for saying that. And you know what? I want to take the moment here if we could just take a little pause, and I want to give you an experience that I've had with my thermostat since yesterday and today. And I reached out to Be My Eyes. You go to technical at the bottom. You first open Be My Eyes. If you're registered, you'll have 2 things: call next immediate, or I forget the verbiage they use, but special help. Specialized help. Thank you. So I did that. Then at the bottom, there's technical. There's a whole bunch of other stuff: cleaning, career. That list keeps growing every time I open the app. But bottom, you go to technical. You'll find Be My Eyes. You'll find Google, Microsoft. So I clicked on Google and connected. I had a thermostat issue. I think the thermostat might be bad, but the person that was helping me, like they spent pretty much an hour or two just going through it, and I felt bad if this gets messed up and that, but we really went through it and we troubleshot it really well, and we'll see what happens. I have to escalate it, but at least it's kind of working without the Wi-Fi app or whatnot. But that experience is really important, and you could receive the same if you even just email them. And we don't do that enough in the Android scene, I don't think. Is if we have issues, if we have requests, let's get them in there, and let's not be mean about it. Let's give fundamental reasoning behind how to do it. Maybe there might be a better way of developing something. So that website, if you wanted to get a hold of Google, g.co/disability support. And you have 3 forms of contacting them: calling them, emailing them, or using Be My Eyes. If you get them in a chat or email or that, they could call you right away. So there is that use case scenario. Most people are looking for a phone number or something to call, and if they have issues, just giving them a quick email or chat will get your phone call. The other bit that I wanted to say is, when you do write an email to them or whatever, giving them potential issues, causes, the things that you've tried is really helpful. We all come on this call every third Wednesday, so we get to give them, a way of, hey, this is wrong, that's broken, this is right, and we all kind of work together. So that's just a good resource to have. And then for our website to get a hold of us on the list is iBUG Android Insight plus subscribe at groups.io. So you could reach out to us on our mailing list if you send us a blank email, and if anything's going on, or if there's some Android news, or you have some thoughts to make our show better, please fill out any of the information there as a feedback, or get a hold of us, and we'll try our best to help you off air. So with that, anyone else have any questions, concerns, thoughts? Ava?
Yes, I would like to know with the Braille display, what would be what phone app would be, or what Braille display would be compatible with the Samsung 7 or 8, 9 or 10 or 13 or whatever have the Braille display app. What would be a good Braille display to use?
Oh, this is Dan. I'll try
Go
to
ahead,
answer
Dan.
that one if you want.
Sure.
The older Braille display, well, the Braille Edge isn't made by HIMS, but if there are used ones that any of the HIMS,
Okay.
I don't know about the Braille Sense 6, but
The
the older
HIMS.com.
HIMS
HIMS.
IMS-INC
Your internet connection is unstable.
.com. The Q Braille, which I have, works.
Brooke Anderson has left the meeting.
The
Renee
Focus.
Arrington Johnson has left the meeting.
The Focus, which the latest version of the Focus from Freedom Scientific should support your phones. It was brought to the market in 2017, so it doesn't have the new standard. What else? I don't know about the Vario. I think there are some display. I know someone in the UK a little bit, and he says there are some European displays that support Android devices, but I don't know if they're all available here. One I can think of that was available and is not, and I think soon will be, is the Vario. The company used to be called Baum, but they're now called, I think they're called Visio Braille. What I would do, there may be a documentation page on the Google site that lists compatible Braille displays. It seems to me I saw something like that once.
Thank you for that, Dan.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to add to that? If anyone else wants to chime in on this one?
Base.
Okay, you said Focus, Vario, and what's the other one?
Q Braille. It's
Q Braille. Okay.
From HIMS.
From HIMS.
The Focus is Q Braille and the Focus are about the same price, $3,100, and the Vario, I don't know, and I think that's kind of a in flux. situation. There is another, and I have not tried it. There is another Braille application like BrailleBack for the Orbit reader. It's called Our Braille, OURBRAILLE, and that's done by Orbit Research. I have not tested it, but it's for their products.
Okay. So, okay. So
I would think the Focus or the Hymns would be your best bet.
okay. And HumanWare is not compatible.
Not the latest HumanWare displays, no.
Okay.
At least not yet.
And this is Hershey, and it's always good to get a hold of any of the companies or even shoot a question to the G-code/disability support and just say, hey, I'm thinking that I have the money for this. Is this going to work with what I get? And if it doesn't, that gives them a reason to maybe work with it. Most like Focus and such that they are working, and I think Wesley also mentioned the Braille No Touch. And so that's some of these things are based off of Android. So the Braille No Touch is based off of Android, and I think the HIMS Sense 6, the new Sense.
Yeah, that's Android.
Right. So I've heard a few of them work. I wouldn't say if they don't support it, they're not going to work. You just have to give it a minute and just get in with. And the newer device it is, the better chances probably you have to getting it going and meshing with them to work. All right. So any other questions, concerns, thoughts?
This is Dan again. I think Kevin asked if updating iOS updates the screen reader. I think, and yes, it does. I mean, when you update iOS, everything related to the operating system updates, except the apps that you have installed on your phone.
Correct. Yep. That's the methodology behind iOS's screen reader updates and OS. So, and we always want to know the differences, right? As Kevin mentioned earlier, first, last. I know Sandhya has brought that up to my attention when I gave them the challenge a year ago. They bought themselves a Pixel phone, and Sandhya had got the Pixel 5, whereas Michael, the president, Mr. iBUG guy himself, got the 4A. Sandhya lost hers in the garage, I think, or the dog ate it.
Oh no!
I don't know I don't know which one the homework question, But I guess she's still scared of it. Maybe she'll like the newer stuff, but we'll see. But if anyone else has any thoughts, questions, I know Shay and others had questions earlier, so please feel free to ask.
It's Dan. I just want to what? Oops. Go
One
ahead.
second, we heard somebody.
Yeah, it's Richard.
Go ahead, Richard.
Earlier with the storage, real quick with that, and I have my own issue with the Android, but the storage and what will really help there with storage too is for everyone, make sure if you really don't need it, if it's just not something you're needing, something you're just not using, it's just nothing. It's just nothing. It's just on your phone and it's nothing. You can erase that. That frees up storage right there too, because it's not being used now. You getting rid of it. I had gone through mine and just got rid of all kinds of junk, garbage, because some things are attached. They sneak their way in with these, with their advertisements. They sneak things in and it's attached. It fills up more room and space, and so just go in every once in a while and get rid of anything and everything you're really just not needing, not using, and it's just sitting there and almost collecting dust. So just get rid of it, delete it, and get it off your phone, and that will free up space too.
Good tip. Thank you, Richard.
And my problem that I have with my Android is really just it put me at a standstill in a mystery of what had happened. I mean, nobody was next to it, nobody was near it, nobody was touching it, and I know because me and the cat's the only one here. And all of a sudden, my phone spoke to me and just said that it said something about the voiceover change voiceover change. It repeated itself, voiceover change, and it made a bleeping sound. And it started talking about app and stuff, and it started talking in a different tone. And I'm like, why did it just do that automatically and start talking in a different tone? And then after it talked in a different tone, it just is not pronouncing the pronunciation. If I put something in after that happened, it's not the pronunciation. It just is thrown off. Everything is thrown off of. If I say a name, it gives me a whole completely different name to read it back to me. And I'm like, that's not who I said. Why is it not picking up? I don't understand what had happened. And this happened last month, like the 24th, 25th of October. And after that, it said those two things. It's been giving me a problem.
All right. Anyone have any solutions for Richard or thoughts of what might be causing this issue of random speech gurgle? I guess not, Richard, but my guess on this could be this. If TalkBack, or rather not TalkBack, but if your Google speech was updating or your Samsung voice was updating or yada yada, like whatever TTS engines that you use, that could have caused some weirdness. My phone specifically, I'll give you a weirdness on my end. I was just doing stuff and then all of a sudden it says, please register vocalizer, please register vocalizer. What? I paid for my voice. I paid for Ava. I paid for Zoe. Leave me alone. And turning off TalkBack and turning it back on, it kind of set it straight. And then it did it again when I reboot it one day. So sometimes it could be that there's a shake hands not happening with the server somewhere and, blah, 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 blah. So I wouldn't freak out totally, but you might even try like Sophos scanner. I don't think you have any bugs, but if you feel like you might have a bug, you could even factory reset it. And since your file's already stored and your contacts already stored to Google, you could just simply wipe it, do a factory reset, and see if you have weird anomalies. And that way you're not putting junk back onto the device except for contacts that might have been caught from somewhere. We don't know. So just some things to check on if that's the case. But normally if a TTS engine updates or something, I have heard my phone yap away or say like, oh, update, Google Voice updated. Like, what? Oh, I know what happened. It's saying that there's something updated. So.
This is Richard, and I've heard that and caught that. It's Android accessibility updating and Android suites of updating, and but that particular day, all of a sudden, it just caught me off guard. It says TalkBack speech change, and then right after it said it the second time, I heard this little bling. And then all of a sudden, it started talking in a different tone, and I didn't freak out. I was actually like, "Hey, hello, who's that voice?" Because it actually sounded nice. And I'm like, but after it's dawned on me, like, wait a minute, nobody touched that. Why are you starting to sound like an actual human being? Because it almost got rid of the robotic sound. The robotic tone was almost gone.
Well,
and it sounded
let's see if Kevin is available to answer this question for us. Hey, Kevin, would you be able to shine any new news on the new voices? Is there new voices out there? I've been hearing about Google Speech voices. I don't know. What's up with that?
So last month, well, anybody that has a Pixel, I believe it's 4A and above, maybe 5A and above. But anyway, they switched over. So now the high quality voices are available on any 64-bit phones. And so and it was a server-side update. So the update just kind of came randomly to different phones. And if you have your speed set at a certain rate, then it's going to switch to that voice, and it's going to be, permanent until you change it. It's going to be those high quality voices, and you can go into the settings and pick which one you want to use. some people get that announcement and like he said, in a human voice, but your voice speed is too fast to support it right now. And so it'll go back to the robotic sounding voice. But if you go into your speech settings and you slow your default speech down, then the high quality voice will pick back up. But for right now, I don't know if it's a bug or whatever, but if you go above a certain rate, then it switches back to the robotic voices. But if you slow it down, the default voice, if you go into the settings, the text-to-speech settings, and you slow it down to 10, then it will switch over to the high quality voice.
This is
Thank you,
Richard.
Kevin.
I got that, Kevin, and where the speech setting is, and I had to definitely slow my speech setting down, because when I first got it turned on and first got it in, it sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks just had a caffeine break, so it's like, hello. And mine is slowed down, but it's not slowed down that level you've mentioned there. Mine is about 170 or 160, and that might be why it did that then. I think I'm catching it now that you said speech rate. It might have took over, because mine, I had to slow it down. I listened to it. As I slowed it down, it repeated it. I'm like, okay, this is where it's better for me at about 160, 170 in that area. So that, with the new update that I just heard him say, that might have been why it changed over. I don't really want to get rid of this speech. I'm like, I actually want to keep it, but the pronunciation when I say something or type in something, for example, I wanted to look up Cerise Theron and Eva Mendes, those two ladies, because Fast and the Furious, I love those movies, and I want to see if those girls are returning to the next two movies, 10 and 11. And my phone doesn't recognize the name. It just went off in a completely different name, and I'm like, why can't you pick up those names?
This is Kevin, are you holding the side or power button or whatever they're calling it this week, or are you using an OK Google command? How are you inputting? Are you holding down the mic? Are you touching the voice input button? How are you entering it?
I'm actually just speaking to it.
But are you saying OK Google, or are you holding down the button and giving it a command? Or are you touching the voice input button?
No, I have to be careful because the phone is activated, but I'm actually saying to activate and actually saying the word. I'm not.
So if you're having a pronunciation issue with it now, pronouncing issue, that is a Google Assistant problem, so not a TalkBack problem. So go to the setting, go to apps, which is at the top of the settings thing, and it'll say the recent apps, and Assistant is going to be there because we're using Assistant all the time. And go in and clear your cache and all of your data, reset the app basically. It's just that the app is kind of stuck because it's not understanding you. But just go clear the data. And if that doesn't fix the problem, then go back to the Google Assistant app in the Play Store and uninstall the last update and reinstall the last update.
Okay, so it's the Google Assistant
So
app.
it's the assistant that's having the problem understanding you. It's processing it. Maybe when you did an update or something, it got tricked up, or when you went to Android 13, the latest security update or something, maybe it got tripped up or something. I don't know, but it's the problem. Just so every 6 months or so, it's just good to go and just reset your assistant.
Okay, because it was right when that happened last month, of where it said that Google Voice changed, and I'm like, okay. And then right after that is when the pronunciation started happening, where I said Charlize Theron, but yet it gave me Garth Brooks, and I'm like, how did that happen? I'm like, I didn't say Garth Brooks, it's Charlize Theron and Garth Brooks. Like, wow, talk about way off. You know, and so when the same thing with Eva Mendes, I said Eva Mendes and put that, and it's given me completely different people and Fast and the Furious, and it's given me, you know, food stuff. I'm like, whoa, this has not happened. So
Yeah. If you reset it, it should fix. Eventually it'll work itself out anyway, but you don't want to wait that long. So just
it's in Google Assist settings, and you said the cache, and
just
what
go
else
to
would I have to
settings, go to settings, go to apps, and then it'll say recently used apps, and assistant will be in there. And double tap on that, and then go down to where it says storage and data, and go in there and clear your cache and your data.
All right, thank you so much.
It basically resets the app.
Yeah, I definitely needed to boot, because I was tired of, the English thing. It switched over to Spanish, it switched over to Chinese and Japanese all of a sudden, which I got that corrected. I started speaking Spanish to it. Started speaking Spanish to me, so I started speaking Spanish back to it. Started speaking Japanese, so I started speaking Japanese back to it, but I can't keep doing that. So I got rid of that. That's not happening anymore. I appreciate that. That happened to me back in September. So you ladies and guys there helped me through that. This one here was a mystery. So I'm like, well, I got this meeting coming up. They're great with it. Let me see if they can get rid of this mystery for me.
Well, we appreciate that,
definitely
Mr.
appreciate
Richard.
it.
And like I said, you've come back from last month, so we appreciate return business. It's always good. So thank you for your joining us tonight. And if anybody else has any questions, thoughts, maybe Ava, do you have any questions, thoughts? I haven't heard from you lately. Man, Ava's having too much fun playing with Amazon stuff in her corner. My bad, guys. I try to keep it hug. I get it, if I keep poking at her and she's just over there. But I did find something in my box. If you guys want me to, I found something. Here's a box, right? I'm tapping on a box. I'm showing it on the camera because my camera, I think, is on. It's a Pixel 6 Pro. So, tab number 1 on the left-hand side, I ripped it. I'm going to touch the box on the right. There's tabs. So I feel for the tab. I pull down. I don't have a microphone that does those sounds for you guys, but I'm going to pull the lid by just holding the top of the lid. The bottom of the box is in my palm, and then I take take the top of the lid and I just lift, and it gives me a little air. So then it just goes, and it's open. I am going to now pull a device. So now I have the phone in my hand. I'm going to put it on my lap for a second to just feel around the box. So in the box, oops, sorry about all the banging in the mic, but there is a cable, feels like a USB-C cable to USB-C, which is going to be the charger. I have this little, whatchamacallit, the dongle, USB-A on one side and then USB-C to the other side. So if you have a not a printer, well, I guess if you have a printer that has that, if you have a keyboard that you want to plug into your phone, you could take a wired keyboard and hook up this little adapter on one end, plug it into your phone, and there you go. Or if you want to hook up your microphones, like I hooked up my little Samsung Q2U microphone. It has USB-C or USB-A on the other side. So I hooked it up to my phone. I made a phone call to my friend, and I was able to talk on my microphone. So there are some cool little tricks you could do or connect things to Androids, but nothing else in the box, just paperwork, the dongle, and just one cable, no charger in the box. So let's see, how do we get this thing going on? And let's see, let's peel off the little plasticky stuff. Feeling around. Okay, plasticky stuff right there. That's the best I could do. And I'm going to plug in a wire that I have and see what happens. The wire is going to bring in sound. So let's see if this brings in sound. I will power it up. So I'm feeling the buttons. This is what I typically like doing with phones. I'm feeling it there. So the way I feel it on the sides, it's smooth. It's curved-ish on the front. I'm going to flip it to the back. It looks like a black color phone to my best regards. Someone could let me know that's out there that's sighted. I feel like a big visor looking thing on the back. So I'm guessing that's where the camera's lenses are laying. has a nice little heavy top end kind of feel to it. Sits nice in the hand. Let me see on the sides. You have your buttons. One button that's up top, and then bottom you have a button. So it feels like the volume because it feels like a rocker. It's a longer length button where the top button is shorter. On the left-hand side, don't feel anything. Maybe there's a SIM card slot thing. Yeah, I think there's on the left-hand side might be the SIM slot. On the bottom of the phone, there's just the USB-C charging port that I plugged in that little thingamajig. There's a slit, and I'm guessing the slit is speakers at the bottom of the phone. So let's fire it up. Power button should be the one at top. So I'm going to hold it and see where does it go. Okay, the screen is on. It vibrated in my hand. Let's see where it goes from here. So now what I'm going to do is turn on TalkBack. So I'm going to hold down the volume up and volume down together for whatever second. So let's see if we're going to hear that. Okay, I'm holding it down, volume up and volume down. Don't hear it. Make sure my fingers are placed properly. Do it again. I held it, I felt something. I heard something. So let's see if the volume up is up. So let's see if is that the issue. Maybe that's the issue. Nope. Okay, so let's try it again. I've taken out the wire and I'm going to hold the volume up and down again. I heard a buzz.
Press and hold both volume keys for 3 seconds to use TalkBack.
No, you're fine. Excitement.
TalkBack on.
Woohoo.
Welcome to TalkBack.
I win.
To TalkBack, page 1 of 5.
Okay, now we could maybe stick this wire back here.
Difficulty seeing the
Yeah,
screen.
here we are.
It gives next.
Okay, wait.
Well,
yes,
next button.
No.
Welcome to TalkBack, page 1 of 5. TalkBack is a screen reader intended for situations or people who have difficulty seeing
What
the
difficult
screen.
situations those
It
are,
gives
aren't they?
you spoken feedback so that you can use your device without looking at the screen. You can turn TalkBack on or off by holding both volume keys for several seconds. When TalkBack
That's why
is
it's
on,
important to
the
read the rules
focused
of
item
the
on the
directions.
screen is spoken out loud. Swiping right will move to the next item, and swiping left will move to the previous item. Swipe
Oh.
right now to find the next button.
Okay, I tried that.
Next
Ooh,
button.
I found it. Double tap.
Explore by touch. Page 2 of
Okay,
5.
so we have more stuff here.
You can focus on an item by dragging your finger across the screen. Try this now by touching the screen and dragging toward the bottom left corner until you find the next button.
No, not there. Wait, nope, not there. Wait.
You can focus on an close button.
That was close.
Previous button. Next button.
And that's next. Let's see. Come on.
Previous. Next. Previous. Close.
Wait
button.
a minute. What is that close button?
Double
I see
tap
close.
to activate.
Anybody want to take a guess why there's a close button there? Nobody. Okay. The close button's there.
In your pocket?
Good. Yeah, the close and the previous and all that. So this is a tutorial that we were going through, right? So if you wanted to just close the tutorial of TalkBack, I could, or I could hit
previous
button. To go back to that
double
one
tap
other
to
screen that
activate.
taught us to do something else. But I
Next
could go to
button.
next and hit double tap. So let's just go to
Scrolling.
screen 3.
Page 3. You can scroll by swiping with 2 fingers. Try this now by swiping up with 2 fingers until you scroll to the bottom of the list items.
So we talked about Gmail earlier, remember? We were saying take the 2 fingers and scrub them. So this is the same concept here. You hear that little click, click, click. So I've done that. I'm at the bottom of the list.
Item
So
1.
I think I win.
Item 2. Item 3.
Oh, wait. Did
Item. Next.
Okay, I found next at the bottom
System
left.
actions.
So,
To perform any system action, add 1 finger to the system gesture. This means when using TalkBack, you can go home by swiping up with 2 fingers instead of 1. Trying these gestures now will close the tutorial. You may want to wait until you have completed the tutorial.
Nah. Come on, close.
To perform any system, to go
We gotta go to find close
to
at
go
the
back,
bottom.
to open next button,
Or-
previous close.
We'll go to close just to
Close tutorial.
show you
Stay in tutorial button. Close
what
button.
else happens when I close tutorial.
Close tutorial.
I'm gonna double tap and see if that lets me go.
Close but stay in close.
And to
Allow
choose that,
Android
you do double
accessibility suite to
tapping.
make and manage phone calls. Allow button.
Okay, so here's a permission
Double
it's
tap to
asking me.
activate.
So it said to activate double tap. So
Don't allow. Allow.
I will allow.
Welcome to your Pixel. Language. English United States button.
Yep, that's the one
Double.
I know.
Choose your language. Suggested. Disabled. In list. English United States.
Yep, double tap.
Welcome to your Pixel. Language. English United
I said
States.
that.
Assistive options. Button.
Oh.
Language. English United States.
Okay, sure.
Choose your language. Suggested. Disabled. In list.
Kevin, anybody else? Am I doing anything wrong? Anyone want to help me load this up a little bit till we end the call here shortly in about 5-6 minutes?
There should be a next.
Okay.
English.
I hear
Double tap.
English.
Cancel.
So double tap
Button.
cancel.
Out of. Cancel.
Cancel. Nope.
English. In.
Nope.
Estonian.
Nope.
German. Danish. Czech. Catalan. Bosnian. All language. Danish. German. Estonian. English. Spanish. English.
Okay. English.
Austria.
Whoop.
Double tap to activate. Bahamas.
So I did pick English, and you're saying there's a next now?
Yeah, when you pick it, it's going to close that window. You got to double tap
Bermuda.
again.
Double tap. Burundi.
Okay, so
Navigation bar. Back. Button. Out of list.
Kevin's going to guide me here. Where
Double
is
tap to activate.
Just hit back because you've already chosen English. So just
Welcome
hit
to
back.
your Pixel.
Close it.
Language. English United
just keep
States
going.
button.
Click to the
Assistive
right.
options button.
Keep going.
Emergency
Where's
call
next?
button.
Go.
Get started button. Get started.
tap.
Double tap to connect to mobile
so
network.
if you ever run into
If you have
anything
a SIM card,
as such,
insert it now.
you might want to go back and just make sure you go back to the redo. You don't have to go through the whole process. You could always start from beginning and start again. You retry. So
Download a SIM.
I don't
skip
have a
button.
sim.
Connect to Wi-Fi. Connect to Wi-Fi.
So I could
Select
go
a
ahead and put
network
my
in
information
list.
here. This is where I would put in my Wi-Fi information.
Rockalady
So
40.
let's see.
Tulsi.
So it knows that there's
Showing
stuff
password
there.
keyboard.
I would put in
Tulsi. Editing.
my
Password.
stuff. So
edit
if you give me a
box.
second,
Out of list.
if anyone has
Double
questions,
tap
I'll
and hold
listen
to
and
long
I'll
press.
type the
Editing
password in.
options. Labels available.
This is Dan with a question.
Carry on, then.
This is great because I'm new to this Google stuff. What Pixel phone is that you're on? And also the other question that I had is, how did you start TalkBack? You hit volume up, volume down at the same time. How long do you hold it down to do that?
So
Go ahead, Kevin. Thank you,
okay.
Kevin.
So on the Pixel phones, it's about 3 seconds. You hold it down and it'll say to continue to use TalkBack, hold down the volume and up and down for 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it actually says. What it wants you to do is lift up and then hold it down again. And then it'll say TalkBack on, but
What do you mean by lift up?
So let go of the volume up and volume down and then press it again.
Oh, okay.
It wants to make sure that that's what you really wanted to do, is turn on TalkBack. So when you hold it down initially, it's going to say to continue. And on some phones, you can just continue to hold it down. But on other phones, if you notice that TalkBack doesn't start to run, if it doesn't say TalkBack on, then just lift up and then press it again, and it'll come on. It'll vibrate, and it'll also tell you that TalkBack is enabled.
Okay, and that's great. And so what Pixel phone is he using? What's the
I'm using
model?
a 6 Pro.
Okay.
And that's last year's version. Currently, we're at the 6A that came out in July. The 7 came out in October, I think. October, November. It's all a big blur right now. But 7 and 7 Pro came out recently. So those are the newest, latest and greatest from Pixel side. And then the 6A is your kind of a cheaper entry level to get into Pixel. So it's like about $499, $799 for the Pixel 7 Pro. So under $800. Is it $899 or $799? I thought I saw some. Okay, so
It
there's a
might be on
discount I saw
sale.
today for $7.99.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can get it for free in some places, but the list price is
Lady 40,
$8.99.
Daytona Field Off, Spectrum Mobile,
I
Wi-Fi
thought I
3,
already got connected
Okay,
here. Let me see.
Hershey.
Daytona
Yep.
Field Office B
We're at
5864.
8:29, so we need to
Yep.
go ahead and close out now.
So that was the Pixel. I put in my Wi-Fi. You go next. You get your backup. You pull down your iCloud or your Gmail stuff. You log into your Gmail, and that's the Pixel. And thank you so much for everybody for joining us tonight and asking questions. And really had a fun time.
Yeah, and our next meeting will be December 21st, 2022, and that'll be the last meeting for 2022. So
No way, really? Oh man,
yeah,
it's
so
a fun year.
We've gotten to the end of the year, so I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Gobble 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 gobble.
I hope y'all enjoy yourself. And don't forget the movie Friday night, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Thanks, guys. Come again.
Thank you. This was
Cheers.
really fun.
No
Glad
problem.
to be
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.